Hey, what's up, YouTube investors? Hey, what's up, stock market sharks and crypto sharks? This is Steve, your fellow stock market and crypto shark. And guys, I couldn't have not giving you an update of what's going on with the Bitcoin price chart. Just look at the screen, guys. We are at a terrible level, basically. We are testing back the upward trend, and we are probably at the doorway setting a new low that is lower than the previous low. And do you know, guys, what that means? That means that we are breaking the positive trend, the positive midterm trend in Bitcoin's price. Just look at the screen. So what you can see, we are in the positive midterm trend. We are setting new highs and new lows all the time. Facing some very important resistance level around 60,000 USDs and in between 60 and 70,000 USDs. As you can see, the price has struggled with these price levels a couple of times. Once here, back in April, that's a level around 65,000. Basically, this was able to turn the price of Bitcoin, and a huge correction followed next. Now the price has struggled again in October. A smaller correction followed, and then we were able to set a new high, but the price was not able to pass beyond the 7,000 USD level, and now we are facing another correction. And the problem with this one is that we are very, very close to the previous lows. And if we are going below that, that means that we are setting a new low below the previous low. So basically this rule that we are setting higher highs and higher lows would not be valid anymore. We would set a lower low, and this would represent a break in the trend, in the upward trend, in the midterm trend of the Bitcoin price. And this can be very serious because this can trigger a lot of selling pressure. This can trigger a lot of stop losses, and this can basically escalate very quickly. So I would be very careful, guys. But yeah, let's look into the chart a little bit more in more details, and let's see what we can see. Just look at the few trading sessions that took place currently. We just see some red candles, red candle here, a very large red candle here, signaling some very heavy selling pressure. Then there is a tiny green candle. So the price just made an attempt to bounce back, but the opening and the closing price are very close to each other. So this attempt just failed. And then red candle again. We are below the very important psychological level of 60,000. This psychological level served as a support for the price for quite a couple of trading sessions. As you can see here, the candles, the price has tested this level a couple of times, and this price level was basically able to hold the Bitcoin price for a couple of trading sessions, but the strength was not enough, and now we are breaking below that. We broke below that yesterday, and I was really concerned that the crash is going to happen yesterday, but then we were able to save the situation. The price was able to return back above 60, but I just felt that there's not enough strength, and we are sinking below once again, and we are sinking deeper and deeper, and we are getting really detached from the 60,000 psychological level, and we are getting really close to the latest low, and it's very likely that we are going to sink below that, and that is going to trigger more selling. It's going to trigger more stop losses, and the situation can escalate very, very quickly. The midterm trend can break, and we can see something very similar what we've seen around May, a large, heavy, severe correction in Bitcoin. Yes, exactly, that's what you heard. I think it's very likely that we can go down to the 50,000 USD level. If you take a look at the weekly chart, that picture looks a lot more positive. So basically we can see a huge red candle here that indicates some very heavy selling pressure. But in terms of the trend is still untouched. The positive trend is still untouched. So basically it would be very critical to see how low are we getting. So for those of you guys who are investing in Bitcoin on the longer term, I think that this red candle purely doesn't mean anything concerning. So we are far from the last lows on the weekly chart. On the longer term, I think that there's a huge space here back to 30,000. And if the price moves in that space, that wouldn't represent any danger to the long-term trend. So that's pretty positive for you guys who are thinking about Bitcoin on the longer term. All right, and now I would like to basically look into some indicators and look into what they tell us about the future, about the upcoming trading days. How can this play out? Basically, what can we expect here, and where can the price be headed to? So I would like to look into the chart using a momentum indicator that basically depicts the momentum, basically the selling or the buying pressure. For Bitcoin, I would like to use a trend indicator that basically investigates how strong the current trend is, what can we expect there. And the third thing that I would like to analyze is the volume, the on-balance volume indicators that would basically look into the volumes behind the current movements. And if we cover these three indicators, then we've approached the Bitcoin price from multiple angles. So we have a holistic picture of the current price movements, and we have a holistic picture of what the future can bring. So let's get started and let's look into the first indicator. So let's look first at the RSI indicator. This is the relative strength index, and it's a momentum indicator. It basically shows the momentum behind the price movement, how strong it is. And currently we see that the indicator is around 40. The upper and the lower levels are 70 and 30 for the range. Anything close to 70 would mean that the Bitcoin is heavily overbought. Anything around 30 would mean that Bitcoin is heavily oversold. So we are not close to either of these limits. We are somewhere in the middle. So this might mean that the recent correction might continue. We are not oversold yet. So this does not indicate a potential bounce back purely. After the momentum indicator, the relative strength index, it's very important to look at the Bitcoin price in the terms of a trend indicator as well. My preferred choice is the average directional index, or the ADX. The ADX is basically a trend indicator, and it shows us how strong the trend currently is in an asset, in Bitcoin. The lower levels mean that the price is looking for direction. The price is basically uncertain. The upcoming movements can be interpreted as uncertain. And the higher numbers mean an unfolded, strong, reinforced trend. So as you can guys see, we are at around 20 at the moment. So that can be considered a very low level indeed. And this means that the price is looking for direction. So there is no strong trend in the price of Bitcoin currently. And it's going to be a matter of the upcoming days to see where this is going from here. So we can see some uncertainty here. We can see some direction searching. So yeah, this is basically reinforces the idea that this might be the turn in the midterm term, like a point when we are just turning from an upward midterm trend into a downward pointing midterm trend. Okay, and after this one, and after a trend indicator, it's very important for us to look into a volume indicator to see what kind of volumes are behind the recent price movement. If there is some considerable selling pressure, and I'm using for this purpose the on-balance volume indicator, or the OBV indicator, and basically the trend is in this indicator shows us the extent of the buying or selling pressure. So a very steep increase in the value of this indicator means that there's a very considerable buying pressure behind an uptrend. And if the price is falling and we can see a steeper decrease in the value of the OBV, that means that there is a very considerable selling pressure behind the downtrend. And what we can see in this indicator, that there is definitely a downtrend in it. So there is some kind of selling pressure, but it's not comparable at these levels on balance. It's not comparable to, for instance, the buying pressure that we could see in this very steep increase in the value of the OBV. So of course, there is some kind of selling pressure, but it's not so heavy that raises very severe concerns. So we shouldn't just drop our Bitcoin and run away based on the value of this indicator. But of course, as mentioned earlier, this can be the starting point of some more severe correction. And in this case, also the OBV would show a steeper decrease potentially in the upcoming days. So guys, we covered multiple aspects of the Bitcoin chart. We have a holistic view currently based on different types of indicators: trend indicator, momentum indicator, volume indicator. And all these indicators just suggest to us that something has started. Something has started. It's not yet sure how this will unfold, but something has started for sure. And there's no indicator that would tell us that basically we are not entering a more severe correction, So we are at an inclination point from an uptrend into probably a downtrend. And yeah, there is no indicator that would send us bullish feedback currently. The RSI is not oversold. The ADX, the trend indicators, show us that the price is looking for direction. There's a very weak trend that's fading away of the upward trend, and the OBV, or the volume indicators, indicate some selling pressure. It's not very severe at the moment, but it's definitely some considerable selling pressure. So let's see how this plays out, guys. Let's see how this plays out. That's pretty much it, guys, that I wanted to cover. I hope you find this video useful. And the usual ask, guys, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel to receive videos like this one. I'm building this community from scratch, and it's very important for me to get some feedback from you guys. If you found these videos useful, enjoyable, if you found them basically helpful for you. So please send me your feedback. Please share your comments. How do you view the Bitcoin price? What is your trading strategy? What do you expect next? Please subscribe, and please subscribe, and please subscribe. So that would be very important, because don't forget, trading together is always much more fun than trading alone. I was Steve, the Stock Market Shark. I'm coming back very soon with some very important updates on the stock market, cryptocurrencies, investment, personal finance, macroeconomic analysis. So everything that is essential for you guys to get up to speed on your investments. So thank you very much for following me. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for watching my video. Have a very profitable trading. Be happy, be healthy. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.